Attention! Join us in Ethiopia from the 20th to the 29th of July 2026 for the Lion of Judah Tour, as we celebrate the 134th anniversary of Emperor Haile Selassie I, Emperor of Ethiopia. In Addis Ababa, we will visit the Grand Jubilee Palace, the University of Addis Ababa Imperial Palace, the Throne Room and Palace of Menelik II, and of course, the Science Museum, the National Museum, the Battle of Adwa Museum, and so much more. Then we go south to Shashamane and visit the hot springs and waterfalls of Wando Gede. And don't forget the summer palace of the emperor. Come prepared to rock Nayabing. Remember that the Lion of Judah Tour is all inclusive. Your meals, your accommodations, transportation, and so much more. Plus, take advantage of our 50%, 30%, and 20% discounts that are available. For more information or to register, email us at priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com. The Lion of Judah Tour. What a gathering. And see you there.
Nearly half the population of Ethiopia now is under the age of 15, and for Haile Selassie their education has always been an obsession.
Salam Nacho to all Ethiopian religious children and parents. Introducing the Priest Isaac's Institute of Holistic Knowledge Ethiopian History Essay Competition from the 5th of May to the 2nd of November 2026.
He's taken personal charge of the Ministry of Education, sought teachers and money for more schools from half the countries in the world, and turned one of his palaces into a university.
Children 7 to 17 will write an essay entitled "What Does Ethiopian History Mean to Me?" Prizes such as laptops and tablets to be won, trips to the Science Museum, Unity Park, and others for the full class of the winners from Aksum Lalibela. Menelik I and Menelik II, Ethiopia's history is amongst the richest in the world. For more information, join us on most social media platforms at Priest Isaac, or email us at priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com. The Ethiopian History Essay Competition. Know your heritage.
He's directly responsible for whatever schooling these youngsters get.
Salam Nacho to each and every one. Give thanks to the life giver and the keeper of life. Glorify the power and might of the Holy Trinity. We greet you in the name of Emperor Haile Selassie I. Royal family, this is the Tiger's Temple. Your humble servant before you, Honorable Priest Kidemi Shalom Isaac. And with joy, we are bringing forth a special presentation today as we are continuing in the whole energy of highlighting that we are dealing with the earth's rightful ruler. That is just a phrase, really, that I would say Rastafari would have promoted highly, talking about earth's rightful ruler as it relates to Emperor Haile Selassie I. And of course, you know, as Rastafari, we definitely have a very special place within our heart chakra for Haile Selassie in all doings and sayings. But I would have done a series of programs within the past 2.5 months, highlighting this topic Haile Selassie being Earth's rightful ruler. And you would notice within all of these programs, we would not have delved too deeply into any scripture, into any passage of any religious book, but we were just looking at history itself, diplomacy, geopolitics, and again, history itself. Of course, the kiss of death, or that is, I think that's my favorite of them all. You know, the visitation to the Queen of England, and when that kiss was made, that has become extremely controversial. We recently did a program when Haile Selassie went into Windsor's castle. How many of you saw that one? You should check it out. All of these are on the YouTube channel. When Haile Selassie went into Windsor Castle. One of my favorite as well is the galactical warfare. Haile Selassie visited the Pope of Rome. This is in the 1970s, around the same time of the stepping into Windsor Castle. All of this is judgment. We did the program highlighting the Shah of Iran, and even when Haile Selassie first visited John F. Kennedy and placed the wreath at the memorial of President Lincoln, and a few other programs that we did. Of course, the Meet the Press program, when the NBC reporter, Miss Frederick, asked him, Haile Selassie, of the position that the white man will have in Africa if he has to leave or if he can stay. All of these programs, if you take them in properly, shows without a doubt that you're dealing with the earth's rightful ruler, spiritually, physically, any which one of those dimensions that you want to go into. And again, we purposely refrain from opening any passage of the Bible to start to break it down, but leave it again historically and geopolitically to show you we are dealing with reality, not religion, when it comes to the 225th emperor, yes, of the Solomonic dynasty, Emperor Haile Selassie I. Now, what we will be doing today in the Tiger's Temple is to continue with that trend. This is really a two-part program, but in that second part, we will be showing you that Haile Selassie is the King of Peace, what the Bible refers to as the Prince of Peace. And yes, of course, we highlight here and there, for example, Earth's rightful ruler, the King of Glory, Prince of Peace, biblical, titles and statements. But my point is that the structure of our presentation is not leaning on any specific chapter or verse, it's just geopolitical history. Now, what we're going to highlight this presentation, Tiger's Temple, is the war between Algeria and Morocco that was definitely looming in the 1960s, just after these countries got independence from France. And we're going to show you how Haile Selassie intervened in that situation and brought it to an end. Now, prior to this, Kennedy said that Haile Selassie would have brought several wars in Africa to an end. And he spoke of Congo and Biafra and other places, and even how Haile Selassie contributed to that hostility in Korea. Now, to bringing all of that to some sort of justice. But after he made these statements, this is John F. Kennedy, he was assassinated. And just prior to his assassination, Haile Selassie returned to Africa to deal with that war between Algeria and Morocco. But what stands out is the report of the journalistic world at the time. I highlight this all the time. When you go into those old newsreels and you listen to what the journalists and the reporters are saying, it doesn't align with what you've been taught, in school about the King of Kings. Well, you weren't taught anything, were you? Well, okay, let me look at that another way. whatever you would have heard about him, you know. So they've been saying to us, oh, Haile Selassie was a coward and he ran away and so forth and so fifth. Yeah. But when you listen to the British newsreel, they speak of his bravery. He's considered as the battle-scarred monarch. We've ran some of those videos for you already. The battle-scarred monarch. And Haile Selassie the First, fresh off of the battlefield, is now on his way to England. Fresh off of the battlefield. King of England wasn't on no battlefield. Not even Mussolini and Hitler were on battlefields during the time of the war. The King of Kings is referred to as the battle-scarred monarch. But now today they give you a different story. You know, the only head of state that was on the battlefield, not for a day or two to see how the troops were, on the battlefield front line, Gatling gun and anti-aircraft gun, the only head of state during World War II, and you're gonna tell me about coward? Well, if he's a coward, what say the rest of them who were not anywhere close to no battlefield? Yeah. So I'm just showing to you that you can listen to the narration of the media of that time, which is what we're going to do tonight. And you will see for yourself that we're definitely dealing with Earth's rightful ruler. So, as I said, this is a two-part program, and we're going to take the first part of the program now, and we will be highlighting the not just upcoming, but it's already in motion, the Ethiopian history essay competition. And of course, there is a fundraising aspect to this that we have now brought into process. Now, this is very important. Let me say I'm very thankful to all of those who would have literally taken in the official launch of the history essay competition here in Ethiopia. Those who may not have, been there for the launch, we're going to put the link in the description below this video. So in the description below this video, you'll have the link for the whole event. That is the official launch of the Ethiopian history essay competition. And for those of you who are really interested in nation building, the reason why we're putting the link is because we don't want to go over all of that here this evening. There's also a booklet. The link for the booklet is also in the description below. It's a flip book, and it gives you all the information at this time that you would need to know about the Ethiopian history essay competition. Now, also, you would understand that this is, if you want to say, a bigger version of something that we would have been doing for some time. And you see, there's a reason for this, and this is why I'm highlighting nation building. Please, no one be offended with what I'm going to say. But a lot of ones come, follow, subscribe, and listen, maybe for the information. Others listen for other reasons too, but those who are genuine listen for the information. Yes, you listen for the knowledge. Yes, you listen to hear maybe the mistakes and what you can learn to improve yourself. Give thanks. I'm happy for that. But many of us do not understand that this is more than just quote unquote the teachings. This is also the doings. This is the action channel here. This is where we move and shake a leg, literally. You comprehend? So this is why we can highlight and show you that we have feeding programs, food programs, even amongst the youth within the territories that we visit, not just where we so-called live, but where we visit. I'm speaking of in Ethiopia. This essay competition is just the beginning of the whole program that we have to implement in the name of the Minister of Education, Haile Selassie. We are only doing what we know to do. We are doing what we have been taught to do. And again, this is something for 13 years we would have conducted the essay competition in the Caribbean. And it is only just that now that we are on the bigger stage that we do what the chancellor of the university would expect of us. So within the whole realms of the Ministry of Education, as the Holy Iris is on me as I speak to you, I'm telling you, this is our mandate, royal family. And this is what I mean by nation building. So the knowledge is good and the information is good and all of that. In fact, it's great. It's needed. That is what really saves your soul as such, knowledge of self. But there's so much that has been said. A lot of information is there, at least for you to get started. So now it's time for us to literally put the shoulder to the wheel, as they say. Even put your money where your mouth is. Hmm? So the essay competition is to encourage the young minds to research their history, to look into their heritage. Even in Ethiopia, where you know the history is so rich, where you know the heritage is like top of top, but yet still, even though the government of the day would have done a lot from my perspective to highlight the heritage. I'm telling you, I could not say otherwise because I'm a great fan. I am telling you of the institutions and the museums that have been set down, the Science Museum, the Battle of Adwa Museum, and all of these, again, museums and institutions that have been set down, even the library, encourage education to a higher level and not forgetting the agency of the people of Ethiopia. So they just need encouragement themselves to point them towards these facilities because many people have never visited many of these museums and institutions. I'm not asking, I'm telling you what I know, even underground. So, I mean, we're not acting as if we can do it all. We are just putting our brick in the foundation or on the house that is being built. We are doing our part, what it is we can do. Whatever you can do it. Whatever he can do, he should. And we all will build this empire together, but we are not waiting for the other laborers to come to work. We came to work early. We're going to start to do our project. We know what we have to do. Hmm? If I'm not the plumber and I'm the electrician, I'm going to start to pull my wire. I don't have to wait for the plumber to come to work to start to work. When he arrives, he will know what he has to do. And if he never comes, well, maybe I will go and study plumbing and then come and do the plumbing too, because the empire must be built. So, as it relates to the essay competition, again, it encourages the young mind, as it always has, to research their rich history, to go into the same libraries, because remember what you do, you have before them prizes. You offer to them gifts that they would delight in. That's really what it is. And although they may not be motivated to go and study no history, but they may be motivated to get the gift or gifts that are offered. All of this is in the booklet, in the link below the description. In the description, you see the booklet that shows the proposed gifts that we intend to gather. Now, the point is, family, this is a process. And the process itself, especially on a different ground, which has begun. I cannot give you all the details, but I've already sat with principals. I've already sat with community leaders. I've already sat with business people. I've already sat with bank managers from the time we would have launched the essay competition on the 5th of May until now. I've already sat with all these people that I'm telling you about, and I have meetings that I have to go in the next light and already set down. And what I do at these meetings is to communicate with these individuals so that they can assist me in even opening other doors to meet other people of influence as well, so that this can be easily, to use the term, facilitated. And of course, royal family, this is on a platform that is wide. Ethiopia is massive. Remember that we are dealing with promotion and marketing too. There's no way on earth you're going to do a competition and promotion and marketing doesn't, come into play. And remember, promotion and marketing, as I've always said, from my experience, takes the majority of your budget, because you can have the best product in the world. You love the essay competition. Oh, it's great, it's wonderful. But if no one knows about it, no one can participate. If no one understands what to do, no one can come and say, well, they're going to write this amount of words and they're in this category or whatever. They have no idea because it's not promoted. It's not marketed. It's just a nice, beautiful idea that, you have in your pocket. That's not good enough. So that is very important. So there's stages here, family. That's what I'm showing to you. And the diplomacy is very key. Sitting with the Ministry of Education, sitting with the Ministry of Culture. So to sit with them, you have to request, the opportunity to sit with them. So you're dealing with phone calls, you're dealing with email, you're dealing with translations and translators. This is how serious the mission is that I'm putting to you, royal family. And as I would have showed to you in the launching of the essay competition, our wish and hope is to not only collaborate with the Ministry of Education to the highest degree, which we are already getting there, by the way, which we are already getting there, but to open a bank account in quick time directly linked to them. So we have that direct, what you would call it, bank number. So the contributors, including yourself and others, can make that contribution to that single account, wherein it's not my account as such, but for the essay competition. So the finance doesn't even come to us. This is how professional we need this. Now remember all the years we've been doing this, eh? For sure, we thrive on transparency and accountability. Those of you who have been with us for even more than 10 years, you know that. We would come on the YouTube and show you all the receipts and everything just to make sure you understand that this is from the heart. Never once have we received any finance as to say, well, this is the profit. Impossible. In fact, we put into that to the point that our idea is that there would be, let's just say you have a budget and you receive more than what the budget requires, then that overflow would go into the upcoming competition or works similar to the essay competition. That's the relationship we want to have, even if it's not with the Ministry of Education, but with the Ministry of Culture or some highly trustworthy organization within the society. And I'm just showing this to you so you see the vision. It's a vision that we are working with. That's why the essay competition is the climax all the way down in November, because it's a vision and it's a timely vision. Very good. But we don't wait until everything is done to say we're going to start. No, we start and get the ball rolling and draw attention to your idea. We know what to do. We have the expected outcome. So this is why we are on it already. And again, it is already bearing fruits. Yes, at least the blossoms are coming out. So again, you have an idea. I would encourage you to go into the description below and press the link for the launch if you did not watch the launch. You may need to watch it again to grasp the importance of the competition and to grasp the importance of the mission going forward to make sure that it's done and all the different aspects of it that must come into play from sponsorship to assistance, again, the diplomacy and marketing and promotion, all of these things, and the education aspect of it as well. We're going to have a press conference, and there are other things that come in. Remember, we are developing even a team. I do not speak the Amharic. My Amharinia is quite tinnish. That means very little Amharinia. You know, I'm a student of Amharic at the moment. So translators are necessary. Even to translate written words are necessary. And in person, when you have meetings with key people, translators and transportation and all of these things come into play. And remember, this is a project funded by no one but the Priest Isaac's Institute of Holistic Knowledge. So this is why we come to you, the tribe, the family, even before we reach to another level. This is why we come to those of you who say that you acknowledge the work. Those of you who say that you appreciate what it is that we do. And this is why we definitely put on the table that many ones do come for the knowledge, but do not comprehend. I repeat, that this is more than just information and knowledge. This is more than talk. This is also walk. Good. So again, I am making available for every one of you. You have the opportunity to make a goodwill contribution to your understanding of what we are doing. And the reason why I say that, because sometimes when I speak these words, I'm not really speaking to everyone. I'm speaking to those who, in their heart, and especially from their lips, would speak that, yes, this is a good work. Because remember, this is all of our work. This is not my work. This is all of our duty, is to spread the gospel of the Black Christ, to spread the word of the Most High. So even if you believe that, hey, what you're doing, I wish I could do. No, you don't need 1,000,000 people to sail one boat. You understand? But if you know sailing the boat is what needs to be done, you can assist in the sailing of the boat. That's the point. So if you believe what we are doing is what needs to be done, and you think that, well, you're on the sidelines, you're not on the sideline, only if you want to be. And this is why we contribute to the mission that we see is an upful mission. I said it's 13 years we've been doing the essay competition, so for sure we have that covered. And that it has been much longer than that we've been in the eyes of the people. So for sure, you understand, I would repeat, transparency and accountability. But we don't have to wait until we get that central bank account, family. That's why I'm speaking to my tribe here. This essay competition is big. This is going beyond tribe. But I'm speaking to my tribe here, the people that know me and trust me and know what I can do and what we have done and our accomplishments and what we are doing. That's my point. So I'm giving you an offer when you contribute. And the offer is very simple. I will match your contribution, whatever it is, with a product or products and service or services that equals your contribution. Do you understand that? So in other words, if you make a $20 contribution, let's just say you make a $20 contribution, I would match your $20 with the product that can align with that, whether it's books, documentaries, whatever, we have it. Let's say you make a $50 contribution towards the essay competition we're speaking of. In the same way, you will get the products that align with that contribution. If you make $100 contribution, at this moment, we still have the ancient astronomy course. At this moment, we still have the ancient astronomy course for 50% off. which is just $100 for the whole course. If you make that contribution, we also will put in whatever you think you desire. And we will tell you what we have to offer, because we have several products. Everything may not come up. But for sure, with that $100, you can get the ancient astronomy course. So although you're contributing to a very worthy cause, wherein it shouldn't be necessary to give me extra work, but we're just showing you we need to be reciprocal. And the whole pleasure of contributing to the cause should be enough. But no, we will still give back in, a product or a service. Even if you contribute $500,000, believe me, we have the service that we can give to you, even if it's not one time, definitely balance off your contribution towards the work. So again, this is definitely to the family, and it is clear and short and precise. Again, we understand for sure that we are doing the demand of the Black Christ in flesh. The Minister of Education, we're talking about the Chancellor of the university. So even within the description below the video, you have the links as well, or the link for all payments and contributions. All of that, you just go below and you press the link, and it will give you all the information that you need to donate or to contribute that $20. All the information that you need to contribute that $50. All the information for that $100 or the $500 or the $500,000 or the $1 million, whatever it is. And I know the higher you go, some people get scared because we don't believe in no nation building. Yeah. And because our mindset, some of us not too honest, so we start to think like maybe what we would do and all of that. No, you ain't dealing with that kind of cat here. This is a different cat. Trust me. Yeah. I'm very thankful, for who I am and calling that I got in life. I'm telling you, I wouldn't trade it for nothing else. Praise for Haile, dear to his voice, Holy Emmanuel, Haile Selassie, Jah, Rastafari. So again, all the links in the description. You can even get much more information actually by looking at the launch if you missed it, and that the link for that is also in the description below. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you, royal family. And of course, as I said, we will be continuing with the reasoning as it relates to Earth's rightful ruler, Negus Nagas Haile Selassie, and we're looking at this historically. As I said, one of the things we're going to highlight, the main thing that we're highlighting today, is the war between Morocco and Algeria, and how Haile Selassie I literally came and stood between them. You will see how the king went basically on the battlefield to stop the war, as miraculous as it sounds, But again, we're looking at this historically, realistically. You're going to hear for yourself, not my words, but the report of the day, exactly who we are dealing with. Give thanks, life giver and the keeper of life, Rastafari. Let's go into this.
To everyone who has been asking, Priest Isaac, how can I make a contribution to the Institute? Press the link in the description and you'll get all the information that you need to do such. We truly appreciate your inquiry. For more information, email priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com.
Nearly half the population of Ethiopia now is under the age of 15, and for Haile Selassie their education has always been an obsession.
Salam Nacho to all Ethiopian religious children and parents. Introducing the Priest Isaac's Institute of Holistic Knowledge Ethiopian History Essay Competition from the 5th of May to the 2nd of November 2026.
He's taken personal charge of the Ministry of Education, sought teachers and money for more schools from half the countries in the world, and turned one of his palaces into a university.
Children 7 to 17 will write an essay entitled "What Does Ethiopian History Mean to Me?" Prizes such as laptops and tablets to be won, trips to the Science Museum, Unity Park, and others for the full class of the winners from Aksum to Lalibela. Menelik I and Menelik II, Ethiopia's history is amongst the richest in the world. For more information, join us on most social media platforms at Priest Isaac, or email us at priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com. The Ethiopian History Essay Competition. Know your heritage.
He's directly responsible for whatever schooling these youngsters get.
Now let us continue with the documentary entitled March on Ethiopia, also referred to as the World Tour. This is the tour of Emperor Haile Selassie I, who we are highlighting as the King of Peace. The scriptures speak of him as the Prince of Peace. For those who may need to be refreshed, this is the tour where in 1963, he met with John F. Kennedy in the United States. He went on to Canada, then to West Africa, to Guinea. Then he visited Mali, where we are here. And this video, the quality is not of the best from 1963 till this time, but we will be able to get what we need to get, whether it's via the video or the audio, as it relates to highlighting our point. So let us continue. Remember, it is the war between Algeria and Morocco that is taking place that the emperor will come and bring an end to. And let me remind you, just prior to this visit, President Kennedy was explaining all of the different wars that Haile Selassie would have, brought to an end in Biafra and in the Congo and a few other places. So we are already on the way to highlighting, without a doubt, that we are dealing with the King of Peace, which in theological terms is referred to as the Prince of Peace.
Neighboring Mali was the next place on the Emperor's wide itinerary. At Bamako Airport, he was welcomed by President Modibo Keïta, one of the continent's foremost statesmen. Future affairs were to bring these two men close together. Already the shadow of war had fallen across Africa.
He is saying deeper affairs will bring these two men together. He's speaking of the emperor and the president of Mali. He went on to say that the shadows of war was already looming over the continent of Africa.
And in the outcome, it was to be the wise counsel of the emperor and the president that led to a solution being reached.
In the outcome, it would be the wise mind of the emperor and the president which will bring a solution to be met. Paraphrasing, but that's what he said. And very interesting, royal family, because although he highlighted the emperor and the president, for sure, it is the emperor for sure which would lead the way here.
After the airport ceremonies were over, the two heads of state drove to the presidential palace at Kuluba. On the morning of the 15th of October, there was a big military parade in the Place de la Liberté, and all the population of Bamako seemed to be there to welcome their visitor.
So there was a big military parade, and so many people came out. It was as if the whole population was there.
The Malian army is a small but well-equipped force, admirably suited to the task of protecting the country. But the thought of war was constantly in the mind. for reports of the fighting on the Morocco-Algerian border were arriving hourly.
The thought of war was constantly on the mind because news of the fighting on the Morocco and Algerian border were arriving constantly. This is what the narrator is saying here. So you understand the energy and the spirit, at least, of the time. All right. Now listen to what he says.
Already His Imperial Majesty had offered his services as mediator in an effort to bring about the end to the bloodshed and get the two parties together around the conference table.
Already the emperor would have offered his services as mediator to bring an end to the bloodshed and get the two parties around the conference table. Quite interesting. All right. Now, after he left Mali, he went straight to the battle zone. The King of Kings went to Morocco.
And then northwards to Morocco, where one of the highlights of the visit took place at Arica in Marrakesh province. The people welcomed him as the man most likely to preserve peace, and their joy was unrestrained.
The people welcomed him as the man most likely to preserve peace, and their joy was unrestrained.
But for all the festivities and ceremonials of the visit, there was serious talking to be done.
But for all the festivities and the ceremonious visit, there was serious talking to be done.
And the emperor had several discussions with King Hassan, who earlier had been the host at a state dinner at the Bahia Palace in Marrakesh.
So the king had several discussions with King Hassan.
The success of the emperor's self-appointed task lay in the balance, and everybody prayed that he would succeed.
His self-appointed task laid in the balance, and everyone prayed that he would succeed.
Then to Algeria, where he continued tireless in his pursuit of peace.
Then to Algeria, where he pursued tireless, in his pursuit of, where he worked tireless in his pursuit of peace. Now, just understand, although I'm paraphrasing there again, he left one war zone as such and came into another war zone. It is Morocco and Algeria that are fighting against.
Algeria has known all too recently the sound of fighting in the streets.
Algeria has known all too recently the sounds of fighting in the streets.
Battle of tanks, the shrieks of battle and the agonies of conflict.
The battle of tanks and the shrieks of battle and the agony of conflict.
Yet once again, war was threatening.
Yet once again, more war was threatening.
Imperial Majesty drove to Maison Jolie, the residence of President Ahmed Ben Bella, for talks which would shape the future of the continent. Then, accompanied by the Foreign Minister, Monsieur Abdelaziz Bouteflika, the Emperor went for a tour of Algiers. From the heights of Saint Raphael, he gazed down on the city. His talks with the President and King Hassan had borne fruit. Both had agreed in principle to a meeting. Only the details remained to be settled. The people of Algiers received him as a peacemaker, the man who would spare them bloodshed and tears.
The people saw him as a peacemaker, the man that shall spare them bloodshed and tears. That is something else. So after he left Algeria, Haile Selassie, the Emperor of Ethiopia, went to Tunisia. And then after dealing with Tunisia, he went on to France.
From Tunisia, His Imperial Majesty crossed the blue waters of the Mediterranean to Europe. He arrived in France at Orly Airport, Paris, where he was received by ministers of the Republic. Both Morocco and Algeria were until recently French territories.
Both Morocco and Algeria, until recently, were both French territories. You have to understand what's happening here, you know. Keep in mind that we just established the Organization of African Unity. This is 1963. Until recently, these two countries were colonialized or under the colonial grip of France. Haile Selassie I, as you know, is integral on the front line as it relates to the independence of these African countries, whether it's diplomatically, militarily, or otherwise. Remember, he trained people like even Nelson Mandela and other ones who came to Ethiopia to receive their literal training in guerrilla warfare and so forth. And then others who came and got diplomatic strength and advice like Brother Kwame Nkrumah from Ghana. So we were leading the way. The Organization of African Unity, the OAU, was just established 25th of May, Heart of Celebration, 1963. So the emperor now, not only going to the war zone, to the countries that are battling and speaking to their leaders, now he's going to the colonial master, because this didn't just start like that. This has a root somewhere. So let's deal with now the head of the beast. We're talking of France now, who is you know, has responsibility when it comes to this affair. Follow this.
And his talks with President Charles de Gaulle were obviously of great importance. The emperor's efforts to bring about peace were bearing fruit, but no word had yet arrived about the time and place where the opposing parties would meet.
So whatever the discussion was, the emperor's pursuit for peace was bearing fruit. So we're just looking for a time now for the parties to meet. Follow me good.
A pleasant interlude in the affairs of state was a reception held at the Imperial Embassy, Paris. Here the emperor met and talked with the Ethiopian president in France. And then word came. Morocco and Algeria would meet in Bamako. In the capital of Mali, which he had left only a short while ago, His Imperial Majesty was greeted by President Modibo Keïta. The two heads of state were to act as mediators during the peace talks. This meeting...
So they decided that they will meet with the emperor as the mediator, and the neutral grounds was Mali. So obviously, the president of Mali also played a key part, but we are seeing the leadership of Haile Selassie at work. So the parties are now meeting in Mali.
was to be the climax of the emperor's search for peace in Africa.
This meeting would be the climax of the emperor's search for peace in Africa.
His work had succeeded where others had failed.
His work had succeeded where others have failed.
Both countries were to meet under his chairmanship, and an agreement to ceasefire was signed.
Both countries were to meet under his leadership, and an agreement of ceasefire was signed.
It called for an immediate cessation of hostilities and propaganda.
It called for an immediate cessation of hostility and propaganda.
And provided for a demilitarized zone patrolled by Ethiopian and Malian troops.
And provided for a demilitarized zone which would be patrolled by Ethiopian and Malian troops.
Later, a conference of all the foreign ministers of Africa was to be held in Addis Ababa to find a permanent solution to the problem.
Later, a conference of all the foreign ministers in Africa was to be held in Addis Ababa to find a permanent solution to the problem.
Events have already told the full story.
Listen to this. The events have already told the full story. What is the full story?
The emperor's achievement was complete.
The emperor's achievement was complete.
No longer did African fight African.
What you talking about? What are you talking about? No longer did Africans fight Africans.
And all the continent rejoiced with him and thanked him for his efforts in finding a solution to the problem that had once seemed insoluble.
And all the continent joined him in rejoicing in finding a solution for the problem which once seemed insolvable. Let me ask you a question. Were you around in 1963? Because I know this may sound like some strange sort of information here, like we didn't know about this. Listen to what the narrator is saying. This is not no biased narrator. He's just telling you what's happening during the time. You see what's interesting, eh? A lot of the information as it relates to Haile Selassie, when you literally hear the narration of the day, even the British newsreel of the day and the things that they say, you wouldn't believe that that's the emperor that you grew up hearing about. So clearly, just as when we did the program when he was on Meet the Press, this was just a month prior to this. Remember, he's just coming from New York, from the United States. He was on Meet the Press. How many of you saw the program we did about 2 Strongs ago, when the lady from NBC, Miss Frederick, she asked the emperor, well, now that Africa is united, what place does the white man have? Does he have to leave or can he stay? Imagine that. What sort of question is that? How would he know? You know how he would know? Because he's in charge. Because he's in charge. That was the view of the world at the time. When you went to school, they didn't tell you that. In fact, they didn't tell you anything at all about anything that had to do anything with anything that had to do anything with that or around that. That's how serious it was. Anything, nothing. Yeah. So now we're hearing that Africa, no longer will Africans fight Africans. Let's listen to this again.
Events have already told the full story.
Events have already told the full story.
The emperor's achievement was complete.
The emperor's achievement was complete.
No longer did African fight African.
Where did he get that from? No longer did Africans fight Africans.
And all the continent rejoiced with him and thanked him for his efforts in finding a solution to the problem that had once seemed insoluble.
All of Africa thanked him for solving the problem that once seemed insoluble.
It was a great personal triumph for His Imperial Majesty.
It was a great personal triumph for His Imperial Majesty, according to the narrator.
Africa, under his leadership, had set an example.
Now listen to that. Listen to that. Africa, under his leadership, had set an example. How is all of this missing in history?
It had shown the rest of the world the way to settle disputes between nations.
It has showed the rest of the world how to settle disputes amongst nations. The Prince of Peace. No one can deny this. This is not a sermon, although we may highlight the quotation of the Prince of Peace, because unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given. Yeah, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the Ever-Living Father, and yes, the Prince of Peace. And it's obvious that the government shall be upon his shoulder. So again, it is just obvious, because although we say this is not scripture and religion and whatever, the scripture is the truth of reality. But we are just highlighting geopolitical history to prove to the world undeniable. It is factual. No debate that Haile Selassie I is not only the Prince of Peace, but Earth's rightful ruler. Akata Nin Janoi Edas Emmanuelai Selassie Jah Rastafari. I'm a second now.
To everyone who has been asking, Priest Isaac, how can I make a contribution to the Institute? Press the link in the description and you'll get all the information that you need to do such. We truly appreciate your inquiry. For more information, email priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com. Honorable Priest Isaac here, and I'm here with Brother Nakaya Yahawasha. And of course, how you felt about the tour, the different places we visited, the different parks, museums, churches, the Christ Mass. Give us your experience, my Lord.
Yeah, man, and bless up, Priest Isaac Institute, for coordinating, this year, necessary and full occasion, wherein I got the opportunity now, guidance and safety and security, to be able to forward here, into this year, I grounds, motherland, Ethiopia itself, and to touch in Ethiopia, and also to touch very, very sacred grounds, such as the King's Palaces, because now I am, multiple palaces where the king, resided, meeting grounds, clothes that the king wore himself, so to touch on these different areas, go to the museums, also to the national, institutes, as well as, the space program to see what's going on, as well ancient, traditional Ethiopia, as well as where Ethiopia is heading for the future. Definitely, Iman, is personally encouraging myself to return here and making the necessary preparations to come forward to be here. So it's not just a dream, but a reality. So I can continue to learn, because there's no way, there's so much to learn. There's no way to learn and compact everything in just one tour. So I is looking forward for the future tours, not just the next tour, but the tours up on top of the tours, up on top of the tours.
Building. Sign up today for the Rudiments of Ancient Astronomy course and take advantage of our 50% off. The 50% discount is for a limited time, and you will receive the full course for only $99.99 United States dollars. The rudiments of ancient astronomy, professionally done. The graphics are definitely top-notch. Email us, priestisaacInstitute@gmail.com. Designed for the mature mind and also for the young thinker.